along with the return of Sid Cicero after, by my count, 7 weeks of radio only, Tim and Sid broadcasts are going back to TV.
It's true. It's true.
Sportsnet 360 coming back Monday. So after 8 weeks of radio onlys, we will be back on TV, or at least we hope we'll be back on TV. Now, those are the two returns that I want to talk about. One, Sid Cicero returning to Tim and Sid Cicero returning to TV, Sportsnet 360 starting on Monday. After that, and Danny Ruiz wrote in and said, I think we need to return part 2 of the segment. Tim's daughter and Sid have a 4-minute conversation. So maybe we'll get to that. That'll be the return as well.
We could sell it to Ferrari. Sponsored bid. Let's
Boom.
Go.
Boom
Everyone wins. Rogers loves it. We love it. Boom.
So how many different things do you have that you want to talk about? Because I'm right there with you. I had a few things written down today.
All right.
But
let's go. Let's table tennis this. So I'll give you the first one. Throw me yours, and maybe we make this a thing. Sports returns tonight at 1 a.m. Eastern.
Right.
South Korean baseball is happening. ESPN just within the last 24 hours in the States have picked this up. I don't know of any broadcast news in Canada to report. We may get some before we get off the air here at 7 p.m. Eastern. But South Korean baseball with no fans is happening. And Tim, you know I love South Korean baseball. You know I consume this on the regular. Never mind the fact the NC Dinos and the Samsung Lions are going head-to-head tonight. Like, you throw the records out when those two get together, McCall.
Oh, when those two come together, yeah.
Throw the records away. So that's the first thing I wanted to throw anywhere in your vicinity, because I'm going to see these highlights later tonight and early tomorrow morning, and I'm just going to love them. I can't wait.
So you won't be watching?
No, I can't.
Why?
Right? It's on ESPN. No, it's on ESPN. It's in America only.
You,
it's a
well,
silly question, too.
You could find your way. You could find your way.
I don't know. I don't have the foggiest idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. So the Doosan Bears, the Hanwha Eagles, the Kia Tigers, the Kiwoom Heroes, the KT Wiz, the LG Twins, the Lotte Giants, the NC Dinos, the Samsung Lions, and the SK Wyverns. I may have mispronounced a few of those. All getting into action.
The Lotte Giants.
How do you say that? Lot Giants?
No, I think I say we stick with latte. I think it has a nice little ring to it. That team milks it all the time. It works out perfectly.
The Lotte Giants? Can we have some Korean people write in and tell us the correct pronunciation on these teams? Because Sid and I are about to become experts.
So I'm gonna get in a pool, man. Like, I'm going to Yahoo. I don't know if Yahoo added the KBO.
Someone has to have it.
Right? Somebody has to.
Someone has to have it, without a doubt.
Makes too much sense. So that was the first thing I wanted to throw to you. What was the first thing on your list?
Well, the first thing on my list was that the rumors about the NFL schedule being released. But I don't know if this is a positive story.
I don't know if it's a rumor. I think that's happening Saturday, right? Like, that's an official thing. That's happening Saturday.
Whether or not they'll announce, I mean, maybe I missed the boat on this, but are we talking about a 14-game schedule? Are we talking about a 16-game schedule? Because I heard Peter King on the writer's block talking about all those things, right?
It was a great interview with Blair and the guys. From what I believe, Tim, that announcement Saturday is a 17-week, 16-game full schedule. Right. Is it the final thing, as Peter alluded to plenty of times in the interview on Writer's Block? I don't buy it. I don't believe it. We can tell you also officially that no international games, 4 at Wembley and 1 in Mexico City. That's already been off. That's off the board. So Roger Goodell's already made that announcement today. All right. So do you think a 16-game season gets played today? This year in the National Football League. Let's walk into the world of pure speculation, Tim. Do you think that gets done?
Here's the problem that I have with this, and Peter King said it, and he was talking about Dak Prescott and Andy Dalton, and suggesting that if it came down to Jerry Jones getting Andy Dalton, perhaps if someone caught COVID-19 quarterback on Friday, we have to be prepared for weird things to happen. Like the part for me is if you're playing a contact sport like football with 100 people on each sideline, I'm having real problems figuring out how if Andy Dalton or Dak Prescott comes down with COVID-19, that they're the only ones in a locker room that catch it. Like, I don't think we know enough about any of this right now and I know what the NFL's doing. They're trying to brighten people's spirits. They're trying to be a part of whatever returns, and seeing people walking around in Italy is part of this equation right now, and seeing Denmark lift, some of their, we're seeing in Europe a lot of people opening up right now, or starting to open up, or taking their first steps to open up. And the NFL is going to jump on board on Saturday, but we don't know jack yet. And that's the part of, like, listen, I've been really optimistic for a lot of things. I'm not optimistic about the contact sport with 100 people on each sideline.
Look, I mean, and there's a lot of people that would agree with you. Now, in terms of the releasing of the schedule, I'm fine with it because they kind of have to do it. Like they're a September sport. It's way out there. They're just doing what they feel like they have to do. They're not bound. They're bound by anything.
Right.
So it's a titillating thing, Tim. To your point, I agree with you. It's something fans love. Like the schedule release every year is getting bigger and bigger. So why not do it? I'll say this, Tim. The Bundesliga over the weekend came back with over 1,700 tests of all players and staff.
Right.
Of the 17 plus 100, and they're hoping to get going in a couple of weeks, 10 positive tests. That's less than 1%. Everyone else has come back negative. Does that make you feel any better if you were in a room with someone who had it? Probably not. But I think how the German government handles that will be telling.
Correct.
Because a lot of leagues, like Bill Daly put out there a couple of weeks ago, and I'm surprised he didn't get more traction. He said, if there's multiple positive tests, that doesn't necessarily cancel anything.
Right.
Which would lead me to believe if you at least know who in the room is negative and positive, then you know, and you remove and you quarantine, and now if you're in a Stanley Cup final and someone in your room has to be quarantined for 14 days, that's a new wrinkle into that plan, but that's a problem for another day. But how the German politicians, Tim, handle that, because Germany really wants, or German soccer really wants to do this.
Right.
And they feel like if they have the testing and they put it out there, look, we have 10 cases, but that's less than 1%. If the German government says, okay, you're doing everything that needs to be done, there's mass testing, you've quarantined, go ahead.
Right.
Then I think by September, I could easily see all these leagues playing under those pretenses.
We can't learn from China because we don't know what the hell they're saying. But we can learn from Germany, and we can learn from Korea. Those are the two things that I know right now. You can figure out what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, and then you can adjust based on that. And that's been kind of the way I've gone about this for the last little while, is you look at the things that they're doing in Germany, you look at the things that they're, but the one thing that I'll say about what you're talking about in Germany is we still don't know, right?
Don't know what?
You're just starting the steps. You're just beginning the steps. And the NFL is coming out on Saturday, no matter what those steps include, and that's where we might have the tightening of the restrictions again.
So you mean when you say you just don't know, just what the landscape will look like in
2
3
weeks
months,
from
2 months, or even 2
No,
weeks?
3 days from now, yeah. Like
Yeah.
you don't know.
Nobody knows. No, but that's the point. Nobody knows, right? Like so why not throw a schedule out there?
Right.
Why not?
Right.
It hurts nobody. It hurts absolutely nobody. Right. So that's why they're doing it. But you're right. At the end of the day, we should almost kind of preface every show with, we don't know what's happening in the next 3 days to 2 days to 3 weeks, but let's just talk about sports for 2 hours, because that's basically every show we've done since March 11th, right? Like no one has a clue what's really happening.
But we can give you information. We can tell you
of
what we
course.
think. We can tell you.
But what you
here
just
are
said
the facts.
is the big picture thing that is at the center of all of it,
right?
Which is the most important thing.
Right.
But as leagues try and figure that out, throw a schedule out. Go ahead.
Right.
Do I think
Well,
they're going to
that's
play 16 games? I don't know. I have my doubts, but because every state's acting like their own country right now in the States. You have no idea where you're going from place to place.
And Peter King, who talked to the writer's block, also reported that the NFL would need 200,000 tests for the season, right? And right now, the United States testing capacity is about 200,000 per day. There's no way that the NFL is going to get the opportunity to use 200,000 tests if they're still not readily available to the American public.
See, I've heard that a lot, though, Tim, and here's the reality of it. Rudy Gobert, in 3 seconds, got a test because he was a rich NBA player.
Right.
And everyone in that locker room got a test. I'll never forget March 11th. Like that, when no one could get a test. Right. No one had availability to it. So are we going to really assume or wait for the moment, specifically in the United States of America, where everyone has access? Because I don't think that day is going to come. Do you think that day is going to come? I'm not saying it shouldn't come. I'm saying it won't come.
Do you think that the NFL would take a massive hit if they were testing at that level? And do you think the government would lie just to say the one thing that I saw last week, Sid, was the NHS in the UK said that they were up to 100,000 tests per day. That was their goal. And then you read that there were kind of some stipulations about they had mailed out tests that weren't actually used, but they were going to be used, so they counted them among the 100,000 tests. And then on the very same day, you started reading about the Premiership and how they were about to come back. And I thought, you think the two are correlated?
Probably not.
Oh, I do.
Probably not.
I
really?
do. I think for sure they wanted to make sure that before they started taking steps for their football to come back, that they had got up to 100,000 tests per day, as they said they would. Because they aren't going to waste the tests on footballers if the general public doesn't have them. Now, the UK is a little bit different than the US, but I think they were same day. To me, that's quite the coincidence.
I just feel like in the United States that have been rather flippant to equal health rights for as long as I've been alive, I don't think it's going to stop the biggest sports league in North America from probably going ahead. I hate to phrase it that way.
Yeah, but
don't forget,
if it's reality, it doesn't mean you have to agree with it.
Are people going to be upset? Is there going to be an op-ed in the Washington Post, the New York Times by somebody? Yes.
Yes.
How much money is that really going to cost the NFL, though? Really? They're going to get Super Bowl ratings every weekend. How much money is that really going to cost? The negative press on that. I have my doubts. I do. I have my doubts.